gray gravy runs, alien Buddha, foggy infants, green salt, and pebbly methane freeze. Alien Buddha, rain shirts, flesh pants, skull shadows, flap in the word breeze. Alien Buddha, bones, buttered blood, jazz, seltzer, dissolves everything. Alien Buddha, mushroom stuffed with sugar chew, charcoal candy feasts. Alien Buddha breath, steam and black moon clouds. Alien Buddha blood, stew in a cauldron of boiling honey. Alien Buddha bone, like a tea bag, fattens with marrow fur. Alien Buddha who wavers like green heat signatures, who sticks to wet windows like soft clay. Coin wafer footprints of flat cats. Ashes alien Buddha's celery stick. Boils stubbly, sugary, bubblegum. Chunks squarely in hot ocean. Hums pink, comedic, apocalypse blues. In a prismatic 11th dimensional canoe, alien Buddha inhales, widened, whale wonder mind, with underwater enlightenment light, with divine life preservers, floating testicles, with slurped up rice noodles, vines of dead jellyfish, with curling anthrax, excrement of Whitman-esque shrimp. Alien Buddha's long bong ascends, alien Buddha's face full of grins and smoke. Alien Buddha gropes the ghosts of buffalo, and hairy fins grow from bald brain migraine. America's purple majesties dumped like Exxon oil bleeding into the secret wheat fields of spills and starry nauseous poisonous seas. Thank you, and thank you again to the Pennsylvania State Troopers for their leniency.
Thanks, Jay. So sharing next is Keith Moses.
Mm-hmm. Love this guy.
Good evening. It's an honor to be here. We'll start with brother up north, better than Jordan, who didn't get that break. It's for the potential lawyers and doctors in lockup, or there might have been architects building projects. There might have been Thurgood Marshall, they got Marshall, while a society still by back impartial to the L's of a population. This is dedicated to all those who might have made it. All those taken hostage in environments who don't inspire men. All the might have been rocket scientists who end up firing handguns off instead of spaceships. Top chefs on your corner now baking. Potential accountants got trapped under mountains of debt and started counting dimes and nickels. For the would-be pilot on life runway, end up behind shots flying. You might have been a model in a different day, that brother up north who didn't get that break. You might have been a director in another setup, perhaps a graphic designer if it wasn't designed to lock them up, box them up, would-be librarians who get the book thrown at you, potential therapists who end up in rehab if luck may so have it, otherwise thrown in lockup, children of madness, potential pharmacists selling drugs on your corner, all the potential Jackie Joyner and Usain Bolts who racing against time, potential officers first caught on the wrong side of the law, potential teachers taught hard lessons, might have been a brick mason trap, now you're brick selling. Might have been a bank teller, now you got the bank held up. Might have been a judge, now look, you stand before one. You might have been a model in a different day, that brother up north who didn't get that break. You might have been a psychologist if this world ain't think you crazy. Perhaps a painter instead of your blood painting streets designed by potential construction workers. Perhaps an EMT rather stressed on the gurney for might have been air traffic controller instead of your local drug traffic controller. Might have been a cook or you could have been a curator. Instead of label crook on too soon to see your maker. Perhaps a dietitian or a nutritionist and instead of moving weight talking about nicks and bricks. You might have been a purchasing manager. Now you purchasing and you are the handler. It might have been me or it could have been you. In church singing, Lord, I want to thank you. So we give praise and thanks for God's grace. For all the Kendrick Lamar, they have no one to pray. A world of hot coals concentrate on you walking straight. If you couldn't knock his hustle, however you knock his pace. Learning to read and write, we do it without a trace. Living on blind faith, big bets and high stakes in life's rat race. And for that brother up north, better than Jordan, who didn't get that break. Brother up north, better than Jordan, didn't get that break.
Woo!
I know we're moving. Thank you for inviting me, Luke. I know we're moving, sir. It's my fourth, what's called fourth floor about Jeff Sessions. people, in order to proceed, have to know that Washington isn't stopping a dream. Mitch McConnell might shut down the senator's speech, but the king's dream too far out your reach for hate to touch. Can't Trump love? Tell me what's up. You can't touch us. Brush out to the side and bring out a couple tokens. It look like Chuck E. Cheese is open. For an elected office, honest, probably time that we stop this. It is monotonous, cyclical. What's new? Ridicule. We've been getting census well before Senator Warren started reading prophecies of what is to point. It's my fourth floor about Jeff Sessions. If Jeff Sessions ain't the Klan, I don't know what is. Somebody else gotta be troubled. Proposing infrastructure while your infrastructure crumbles. After a financial crisis, we back doubling. Bye-bye, Dodd-Frank. Embracing large banks. Fast forward. Shot look when it all tanks. How could this happen? Bail out, bail out. Banks too big to fail now. Fail now. Disclaimer. I wrote this like a year ago, and there's been a lot of personnel changes. Jamie Dimon, your treasury, giving shell out. Rex Tillerson overseas, shell out. Jeff Sessions, your age, you on your tail now. America leads, what you talking about? We trail now. There can never be peace along the South China Sea. Go with it. Excuse me, I'm gonna stop that one. Next one. No free lunch. Excuse me for that. No free lunch. What do you do to a kid without his lunch money? Start it over. What you do to a kid without his lunch money? Let him go hungry. Matter of fact, give him a cold sandwich, same day everybody else get a manwich. And when he requests a sloppy Joe, let him know how much his folks owe. That's right, shame him. Tell your mama no shortchanging. Tell your mama she better pay her balance or your ass won't get no salad. Shit, you won't even get a piece of bread until we receive a debt. It's gonna be hard to concentrate when your stomach rumble. Tell your mama to pay up if she really loves you. We don't give a damn about the struggle. That lunch money better come up. Next up. No free lunch, no chocolate milk, till your mama footing her bill. We'd rather put your plate in a dumpster. We'd rather have you facing hunger. Tell your mama to get this straight, let her know there won't be no scrape plates. It's gonna be hard to concentrate when your broke ass have an ache. You'll be facing stomach aches and hunger pains. Tell your mama when you get home that it's not a game. Tomorrow we gonna do it all again until she budget lunch money and a rent. Tears don't affect us, get them checks cut. When that check cut, get some bread cut. No lettuce, no green beans until we see green. Next, please. Hard to believe in the land of the free. A conscience takes away from what children eat. What's the conscience that says it is proper to hold back lunches? Nonsense. People struggling and our budgeting says to take trays from kids to humble them so that their parents have to pay. My God, y'all, we have to pray. No surprise districts holding lunches. Children held back, so why hold your punches? It's a logical conclusion in doing what's been pursued. Districts hold computers, they hold textbooks and take resources because your child gonna end up state resources locked up, so why ever waste resources? Now your child future's looking like it's lunch. Toss it. No free lunch.
Whoa.
Last one. Please don't take my blanket. Man, why y'all take a brother blanket? You must think mental illness is faking. Why else would you take a brother blanket? Don't you see I'm already on this pavement? Last thing I need is you taking this blanket. It's hard enough out here for me to make it, so please don't take my blanket, I'll be freezing, I'll be shaking. Please don't take my blanket, then my body start to aching. Please don't take my blanket, you do not know how I paid it. If you want me off this pavement, won't you please go ahead and say it, but I don't got no savings. My heart's been breaking, I'm optimistic I'm gonna make it. Please don't take my blanket. Rest in recreation. Tell me what laws I am breaking that's got you taking my blanket. Let me get some rest. Let's save our breath. We both know this situation is a mess. Got something for me to confess. Jail isn't a threat. They won't take my blanket now. Am I under arrest? If not, then please walk. Then I am exhausted. Now, what's the procedure if I am accosted? Whoa, big words for somebody that is jobless. I know difference in doing your job and difference in you robbing. I don't want no problem, but if you take my blanket, that's intimidation and will find discrimination. So please leave me alone. Bad enough I sleep alone. Wherever I go this cold, it's kind of home. Yeah, I am kind of gone. How about you ride along? And I promise come tomorrow, sir, I will be gone. Oh, I told you that yesterday. Today be a better day. I might get my big break. It can start with you, okay? Hey, take my shirt and my pants with this blanket. Take these raggedy ass underwear. Go ahead, leave me naked. You must be playing. It's snowflaking. And you saying that you about to take my blanket. Being homeless and hopeless in this nation. Showing statements that invest more in this. Giving operation increasing the prison population. Please take my statement. If you will not give me justice, at least give me my damn blanket. Please don't take my blanket.
Woo!
It's super appreciated. Everyone who read, this is like my favorite people in the world, and then some. And this is just awesome. So thank you guys so much. Thank you to Hannah. Ember+Forge is awesome.
Yeah.
I stopped doing drugs. Now I just drink their coffee and I'm shaking. It's good stuff. I know everyone here's had it, but I went to college with Hannah and I sat next to her, and she didn't let me cheat off her. But thank you, Hannah. I appreciate it for letting me put this thing on here. This is my latest release. It's called Little Hollywood. I'm not Little Hollywood. That would be an incredibly asinine thing to call myself. Some people have assumed that, but it's the name of the neighborhood my fiance and I live in. Which is equally asinine, but nonetheless, I'm going to, I guess I'm going to get started because if I didn't get started, I couldn't end. Right, that was supposed to be funny. This is called All Work. In moonlit parking lot, a solitary car, like the last rotten tooth in the drunken mouth of schizophrenic homelessness. Tin can rewards for adventurers of trash heaps, sexless teens chewing roadside apples, a misogynistic summer daydream, lose the pulse of time, lose the plot of good men, until daydreaming convicts and imprisons to wandering in search of golden tomorrow, chandeliers and champagne, floors littered with pearls busted loose from necklaces for the housekeeper to worry. Snuff the candles to smell their dying smoke. The avenue is too wide. I am too rich, and heaven is just too near. Whoa, I don't even remember writing some of these. This aptly is titled, dunno. Where there is religion, there is blood, and with landowners, you'll find money. But just because you close your eyes doesn't make it night, nor you blind. The bills will be due if you pay them mine or not. And if you pay them, will you pay mine? My identity isn't wrapped in credit scores, nor influenced by pushy debt collectors. Red ink, I know, makes you ill. Most of the universe is space, emptiness, and nothingness. God only knows what that is, and God only knows if you know what God is. There was a bang, a big one, and years later there's poetry and automobiles and penny loafers and worries about typesets, lampshades, which restaurant for dinner. Bang, bang, let's go eat. I'm hungry and maybe a nihilist. So you make the decision and I'll find something to complain about or contemplate. Okay, so I have, well, you guys will figure out that I'm a recovering drug addict. That's not a secret. But anyways, I have to tell you that to tell you this. I attend this outpatient therapy, right? And I have a counselor, and I don't have any HIPAA violations to worry about. Her name's Janine, and she's mentioned very early on. This is called What's the Dark Got to Do with the Light? What's the dark got to do with the light? Big Titty Janine kept saying it. Across the Big Titty Janine. Across the table from me, and I missed the point. I was thinking about the Taoists, yin-yang, old man, ancient poetry for half price in bookstores that struggle to exist. Too small to live, like Aristotle said about the beauty of the minute being incomprehensible. What does the dark have to do with the light? They build one another. I don't know which came first. I don't have time to care. OCY knocking on the door, the economy self-correcting, blue-haired girls harmonizing in the dark, water collecting in garbage cans, still sitting on the curb. I'm sick of analogy. It's always false equivalency. Nothing is suitable to represent itself but itself. The slopes are slippery and we're always walking uphill. I am skin and bone, grease and dandruff. Charles Bukowski and his bottle of wine, Jim Carroll and his heart attack. Editorials and statistics, cure and ill, light and dark, water and rock. Under gray sky at night, dreaming of death and my mother's womb in every punched out cigarette and in every broken shoelace. Janine, I don't think, wants me to answer, but what's a rhetorical question without a person to miss the point? All right. If anyone here is familiar with Johnny Cash, this has nothing to do with him, but well, kind of. He has a song, well, it doesn't matter. He didn't write it, but he made it famous, Sunday Morning Coming Down. This is called Sunday Morning Coming Up. Well, I woke up Sunday morning and went back to sleep. In a bedroom where my dreams keep their own skeletons at bay. Midnight shifts, blackout curtains, smoky rooms, and cats playing with empty food dishes. Love tastes sweet, milk chocolate and Coca-Cola. At times, be advised, love tastes like sweat, nightmare sweat, intrusive thoughts and bad omens uncaught by knick-knack store dream catchers. Love feels like the release, breathless orgasms under stucco ceilings. Just as well, love can feel like a bleeding tongue bit hard under plastic smile at in-law picnics with drunken politics and unconscious slights. Love can look like a sunset, sinking past the edge of the sea, red skies and purple skies, cloudless vistas, still water and lazy boats, drifting towards destinations that couldn't bother you if they tried. Love can look like shit, caked under fingernails, visibly sleep-deprived, perhaps drunk or perhaps demented. Love is puffed up to defend itself in demonic fashion, or love is humble, chaste, and sullen. Love, I don't judge anymore. I just don't have the time, the strength, nor the foolish notion to prove myself to someone who isn't in love, who knows not that love is slavery, that love is freedom, who has never seen that God lives within every paradox. Okay, so part of my adventure is I lived in a halfway house in Butler, right? Butler County. If you've never been, cool. If you've been, sorry. So there was an overdose memorial they had there, and this is titled Butler Overdose Memorial. Next to a dead theater in a dying town, diagonal rows of purple wreaths, resting on thin wooden crosses, each one a dead child, a dead neighbor, dead co-worker, dead friend, who wanted out, who were tired of running a race they didn't choose, so they entered into the game of their own choosing, rigged outcomes but no sore losers. A carnival game to shake free every penny, every ounce of love and empathy that plagues us, human and painful to be aware. I am them and they are me, and I can be callous or I can be heartbroken, but I can't change a goddamn thing. Walk up the street where the pavement shines rain slick. Inside a diner, a husband and wife eat at the counter, greasy burgers and greasy fries, talk about unions in a positive light, enough to find her endearing, in a place that thinks America is only a few tax breaks away from being great again. The conversation is lucid, with detours, Christmas trivia and dollar stores, and the community garden where the overdose memorial lives in the waning autumn light. The husband remarks that without Narcan, 5-fold the number of wreaths on popsicle stick-like crosses would sit there instead. I think they should get rid of Narcan, he says, and the air is sucked out of me, and I think I'm not really sure I can relate to much of anyone at all. This is a slightly lighter one. Same experience though. So in this halfway house, you have the joy of volunteer work. And this is called punishment coffee. At the food bank that citizens of the county could visit once a month, I volunteered, not by choice. At the food bank at 9:15, a bell was rung and the workers stopped to say a prayer. At the food bank, I'm not Catholic. In fact, everywhere else, I'm not Catholic either. So reciting Hail Mary was not something I could do, but I joined in on Our Father. At the food bank, they asked if I wanted coffee, and I did. So Tony made it. He was fat and old. It tasted terrible. It was a donation. Probably stale, definitely cheap. I don't like creamer, but I tried it with creamer, and it made my teeth hurt like a bolt of lightning to my molars. At the food bank, every day I drank the coffee. 8 ounces from a styrofoam cup. It was more like a punishment than a pleasure, but every day I drank the coffee. At the food bank, it crossed my mind to throw out the canister of coffee, but God only knows when and with what they would replace it. At the food bank, there was a guy named Slinger. He pushed carts, half full, a month's worth of food for a family of 5. Slinger was happy. Slinger volunteered. Real volunteering, not the kind I was doing. At the food bank, they'd make coffee, and no one would drink it. I'd pour it out. Before I left around noon, my pockets stuffed with sweets from damaged packages in white box trucks that I unloaded. Tony, never satisfied with my ability to take direction in putting the food away. Likewise, I was never satisfied with his ability to state exactly what he wanted. At the food bank, they gave away rosaries. Cheap plastic rosaries, with instructions on a paper in a Ziploc bag. Drug addicts wore them around their necks. Always made me think about Chris Farley begging the prostitute not to leave him, up for days on cocaine and fades, then praying the rosary and dying ashamed. Okay, this is, I wrote this one last year, roughly about a year ago actually. It's called, I think they call it Shame, which was actually, I had to like realize through like months of counseling what shame was and what it feels like. But that's not relevant, so cheer up. Shane said my kids are sleeping and it did that thing to me. That thing that an elementary school teacher telling me how I was wrong did to me. That thing I felt watching my dad recut the grass after I had just finished. When Julie told me she forgot she already had plans for Saturday evening, precluding me from taking her to the dance, after having asked her out earlier during 8th grade science class, for the rest of the day feeling electrified, like I had just conquered a country. With her words, back came that thing. That thing which made my throat hoarse and my face hot and my eyes well up. That thing that served as the basis for words of self-loathing to repeat in my head, and later, when I was alone in the bedroom I shared with my brother, to repeat the words aloud, quietly, but aloud. That thing, never a new discovery, but rather a reminder that I was broken, wrong, ugly, fat, a fool, undeserving of love, and alone. Born this way, having faith that what I knew, what I felt at that very moment was always going to be this way. And those words repeating were true the instant before the reminder found me. Having only just forgotten or been distracted or deluded. So I castigated myself, swore to be more vigilant of buying into the illusion that pride and happiness and everything else, everything other than being chained to self-pity and misery was a misstep. There was a bang followed by a fuck after I busted my head, walked into the wall that divided the Hilton's sink and bathtub. This all preceded by a speedball, one of many that night, though by this point I seem to recall birds welcoming in the dawn. One of more than I can count, nor recollect clearly. And on the other side of a white door slept Shane and Shane's 3 kids, ages 5, 8, and 9. The reasons for the hotel room, the room service, the swimming pool, and the jacuzzi. The room wasn't booked for a bathroom to bleed in, to break skin with hypodermic needles, to vomit. The only way to gauge if a shot of cocaine is any good is if it makes you at least dry heave, clutch your chest, swear you're dying as you fill up the spoon again. Apologies come easy, they always have. Shane was due one, no doubt. As he came through the door, I imagine he asked what happened as I was now bleeding from a cut on my forehead that might have made me look like Harry Potter. Shane said, my kids are sleeping, and it did that thing to me. There's too many poems in this book. This is... buy my book. Alien Buddha Press, J Minor.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you for taking a chance on me. Thanks to everyone in this room. Thanks to, Ray Flowers, Hannah Kay, all these wonderful people, coffee. This is called I Dreamed I Saw Woody Guthrie. Anyone know who Woody Guthrie is? Raise your hand. Woo! Good enough, all right. I dreamed I saw Woody Guthrie. Actually, if you don't know who Woody Guthrie is, look it up on your phone. I don't care if you ignore me. Look it up on your phone. I dreamed I saw Woody Guthrie dancing silly and grumbling mean in the light of the moon reflected by heaps of snow between the dining room table and the dining room window where I prayed in the sun. I dreamed I saw Woody Guthrie rolling a cigarette with a Topps paper and pipe tobacco full of twigs and tobacco dry. I dreamed I saw Woody Guthrie in his Dust Bowl clothes, speaking from his Dust Bowl conscience about millennial problems being intractable problems. The same troubles as Job, and of chewing gum when it runs out of flavor so you spit it on the sidewalk for the ants to deal with. I dreamed I saw Woody Guthrie crying for his sister, drowning in flames, and what happened to Texas. Where's New York City from here? Do I have to be a communist still? And do you have a harp in the key of G? I dreamed I saw Woody Guthrie invested fully in a cup of weak coffee poured over stale saltines sprinkled with sugar. I'll read a few more. I don't know how long it's been, and I hope they lock those doors. I don't want anyone leaving. I'm not funny. This is called Coyote. Kick heroin to suffer with a sixth sense of detecting desperation in gas stations, knocking on dilapidated doors of blighted buildings, driving uninspected beaters, drifting through the pained prayers of insomniac mothers and police blotters. Earnestness is overrated when it's married to fear and only fear. I've sang for my supper, sang like the rent was past due and my belly was empty, track mark paranoia cloaked in vinegar, sweat, and grease. Honesty is overrated when it's divorced from love, divorced even from pity. A nap is a luxury, learned when I was sleeping on the steps of basement transmissions under a dirty white Afghan I found in an Arby's booth, where I was leeching Wi-Fi and making new scars in the bathroom that locked. I know them all those knock-and-lock bathrooms downtown. My worldly possessions became burdens on the 4 a.m. streets. The occasional police son of a bitch. My worldly possessions became burdens on the 4 a.m. streets. Occasional police cruiser, no one else. I walked to the church where I knew someone had overdosed the winter past, figured I could find a place to lay down. Maybe Catholic pity could exorcise some tears from my tired eyes. I shivered in early May. There were no unlocked doors. Hope is overrated when it's divorced from reality, consensual reality, or just personal honesty. Truth was, I wasn't even capable of ending my own suffering. Now overpasses call to coyotes in the blood, divide the mind, pass through retrograde like astrology-obsessed girls, clipping horoscopes with the boys who don't even know their names. Cool. This is called Titular Line. Time sinks sun, Joan was born to die, the mother of 1,000 brats with good hearts. Joan said she was born to die. I want patience, but time measures patience, and for that, I have no patience. Will I ever get anything but tribulations by which to swim against? Snow in